Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You are watching WENews and I am Alamzeeb Khan. Viewers, today we are presenting you a very special episode while we are having a very distinguished guest, a multi-talented personality, a painter, an artist, a sculptor, a film and drama director, and many more. At present, he is serving as Federal Minister for National Heritage and Culture. I am talking about none other than Mr. Jamal Shah. Sir, thank you for being here with us and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Sir, my first question is, in Pakistan, there is a dilemma that we don't have a right person for the right job. For example, in one of the province, we have a metric person who was assigned the Ministry of Education. Similarly, in another province, we have a human right violator who was assigned the duty of supervising a human right wing in his political party. I believe in Pakistan, this is for the first time that an artist has been assigned the Ministry of Art and Culture. What are your sentiments? What are your feelings? And what is your take on this?
I think the decision makers have done something against the norm. As you said, there have been ministers who were not even matriculated, but they were ministers of education and otherwise. However, I would say that we live in interesting times. Sometimes they also make decisions which seem correct. So maybe this time their mistake will, bear fruits, because they have selected me as a Minister for Heritage, National Heritage and Culture, and I've been a culture activist throughout my life. Let's see what happens. I'll try to fulfill their expectations.
Yeah, I see. Okay, you have a very rich profile in this field. You are the founder of Hunar Kada. You were the person in 1980s when you founded the art department of Balochistan. Now you are here on this post. What are the challenges you are facing with, and how you will cope with these challenges?
Well, the challenges are enormous, and the time given to us is very confined and limited. The mandate is also limited because we are supposed to be caretakers. I hope we can remain, dedicated and honest caretakers and contribute something to the system that can benefit the others who are going to be elected representatives of the country. As far as I'm concerned, I'll focus on the basics, because the ministry have been there. The country is now almost 75 years old, but they've never given due importance to the field of art and culture. This is a ministry which is nobody's first choice for various reasons. However, culture or art is essential to life. You cannot be without art and culture, because it has the capacity to engage an individual with his or her surroundings in the most intimate manner. And it's a relationship that is, on the one hand, creative, on the other hand, it is critical, which is why, the individual involved in this relationship, engaged in this relationship, embarks upon a journey of awareness and empowerment, and eventually the individual, by virtue of this intimate information and by virtue of the dialectics of being critical and creative, is enabled to become an informed decision maker.
Yeah.
So when you become an informed decision maker and you are aware, you attain clarity in life, then you become brave, you become straightforward, you become generous instead of being stingy, and whenever you have to decide something, your decisions are not selfish.
Yeah.
Your decisions are for everybody, because you become a productive individual in society.
You said being in caretaker setup, But although you have in mind or in your pocket any drastic changes to the policy matters or for these artists, for example, you visited Firdaus Jamal few days back, Ustad Bashir Ahmed. So what you have in pocket for these artists, for the young lot, or even you mentioned the establishment of an art city. So what you have in mind in pocket for these people, despite you are in caretaker setup?
Well, as I said, the time is limited, so I'll have to focus on basics. For instance, our first major initiative is focused on children. We'll organize a conference on 19th and 20th of this month and invite experts from all languages of the land, small or bigger languages. Let's say Pashto, Balochi, Bravi, Sindhi, Punjabi, Shina, Turwali, etc., etc. There are several languages in Pakistan. We'll invite them to and ask them to bring the indigenous cultural educational material from their own languages. The material that is linked with the soil, which represents the soil of this country. When the material is brought, we'll sift through it, we'll select, make a priority list for the first batch and transform all the material into beautiful videos, audios, animations, cartoons, and beautiful illustrated books and make them available on a platform for the entire country. And so households from every language, every ethnic group can access this resource for their children. At the moment, our children, whether you're Pashtun or Punjabi or whatever, they know each and every rhyme in English or idiom or parable, etc., but they don't know even a single rhyme in their own mother tongue. The idea is that if a child gets informed in their own mother tongue, that information is very intimate. It becomes part of your system. And the child becomes more confident and willing to participate. So this is essential. And then after this, we'll engage the youth of the country. Our country's population is very, it's about 250 million. And 65% of the population comprises of youth.
Yeah, so there's good. You have a variety of packages, even a platter, particularly for the young lot. And I think I will here compare with the Indian culture. They are even surpassing us. What is the limitation with us? What is the issue with us? Because the Indian culture is surpassing our culture. The thing are the shortcomings. You were mentioned that we have problem in that roots. Our local culture, our local heritage. There are the connectivity problem, the bonding problem. So you are going with these to compete with the Indian culture because they have film industries, they have film and drama cities. We don't have these facilities. So you will go with the young lot, with the children, and even with these local languages?
Well, you don't have to compete with anybody. The thing is that you should become aware of yourself. A deep self-awareness is the answer for everything. You don't have to compete or fight with anybody. The Indians have then done their bit, which is fantastic. I wish our country was also mindful of this beautiful heritage, which is very, very important. You have to be aware of your national and natural heritage, of your potentials, of your challenges, shortcomings, and everything, so that you can decide, take informed decisions for your children, for your own self, for your country. That is very, very important. The thing is that if you are culturally aware, if your identity problems are resolved, you don't have any identity crisis, your cultural identity is strengthened, then you will be a willing participant or contributor in the process of national cohesion.
And we have
if
our
you have
own
national cohesion, that means you have the spirit of ownership for the land, for your country and everything. And you won't be interested in storing dollars and hoarding other things. The you can I mean your media is shouting. The biggest breaking news is dollar ki unchi udan. Why is the dollar flying so high? There are some people who are very, very selfish. They don't think of their country, of their own people, and they indulge in wrongful profiteering of dollar. The dollar is just one example. So many things are happening. So
that
in
we are
order
not
to become a
owning our country.
contributor, yes, in order to become a productive human being and a contributor in your society, you must be aware of yourself. You must have clarity.
Yeah. Okay. And one thing here I might miss that. What about that art city? You mentioned a few days before. We report that story as well.
That is a long-term plan because we have just a few months, and we'll be very lucky if we are able to convert these initiatives into, something tangible. So I'm very clear about my priorities. We'll concentrate on this, and also try to revitalize the existing cultural infrastructure. For instance, Islamabad has many, many buildings built by CDA, which are lying barren.
You had a meeting with CDA chairman as well.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
We'll revitalize those buildings and turn them into hubs of activities so that there are programs every day and artists are involved. That will enable them to earn respectfully, from those activities, and it will also earn revenue for the organization. The organizations will become sustainable, and when the organization becomes sustainable, it contributes its share to the pool. I mean, the creative economy of a country is very, very important, and art can contribute a lot.
Yeah.
The art sector, the art and culture sector, heritage sector, has to become sustainable.
And you are also connected with the world, with the people outside Pakistan. Even today, you met with Iranian representatives, with Turkey and other countries, Azerbaijan, etc., etc. So, in the context of culture, what we can bring from there?
We have cultural pacts with many, many countries. I've been meeting different ambassadors and emissaries here, and we have been exchanging views of cultural exchange. There have been Chinese, there have been, the ambassador of Turkey came yesterday, today. The Iranians visited me, and there are endless possibilities of cultural exchange. We should contribute whatever we can, in this limited time that is assigned to us.
Okay, you are talking about the limited time again. So let's move to some lighter question. As I mentioned that in 1980s you founded the art department of Balochistan. In 1980s, another news was circulating because at that time you were there with drama, with films, and people were matching and they were calling you the next Umersharif, the famous Egyptian legendary artist. And in these days later, you were also offered by BBC in a TV serial. But you refused that. What was the reason behind that?
I've done some international
Because
projects.
we wanted another Umersharif and you missed that.
But the first production that I became part of was done by Channel 4 of UK. It was a fantastic production called Traffic. It was about the trail of drug trafficking from this part of the world to Europe, and I was lucky to have been nominated for BAFTA. 1989, 90. And it was then that people thought that I can be the next Umersharif, and I had many, many offers. Then I did another Hollywood film called K2. Many other projects were also offered to me, but I had roots in Quetta, and the parts, although they were major parts, very, very attractive parts, were offered to me, but the parts had scenes which was not possible for me to do those scenes
I have heard that
It
there is some
involved
issue of
nudity,
Islamic
nudity and
teachings
other
against
things.
Islamic.
No,
Yeah.
not Islamic, cultural.
Culture. Yeah.
There were limitations. I belong to Quetta. Had I
Yeah.
done a film like that, my family would have been scandalized. Besides, I wanted to play a
Umar
role.
Sharif can afford that, but the next Umar Sharif can't.
Maybe Umar Sharif was not interested in building schools in his own Egypt or in his city, but I was interested in bringing some change to Quetta. That's why I had established the Department of Fine Arts in university. I'm very happy that the department has flourished. I'm happy that I've established more other institutions as well, including Unakada. But had I been a bit selfish, I would be sitting in Hollywood.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
I'm very lucky that tremendous opportunities were offered to me, not just as an actor, but as a painter also. When I did my thesis in UK, the major galleries offered me exhibitions, and I was the first Pakistani artist whose work was bought by Victoria and Albert Museum. But I was interested in coming back to contribute something to my own city. I did that, and I'm here now, and I'll be doing whatever I can,
So no
whether
matter,
I'm a minister or
we
not.
know, no matter, we don't have Umar Sharif, but we have our own Jamal
No,
Shah.
there cannot be another Umar Sharif.
Yeah.
Umar
Okay.
Sharif was my favorite. He was a great actor.
Yeah. So you talk about the traffic, the K2, and even there was another one, Revenge of the Ruthless, about the SWAT.
Worthless.
Yeah. Sorry, Revenge of the Worthless, about the SWAT insurgency. What was the most favorite one and the most challenging one for
Revenge of
among
the
these?
Worthless was my writing and my directorial debut film. I also acted in it. And the subject of that film was very, very important for me because as a Pashtun, I was very, very disturbed about the Pashtun culture narrative being dismantled over the past 4.5 decades, and the way Swat was taken over by Taliban. I wanted to make a film so that I can, comment on whatever happened there. It was perhaps the most well-researched film and very realistic about, the siege of Swat. The films that have been made in Pakistan about similar subject. I'm proud of that film. It was not a commercial film. I was not expecting anything commercial gains from that film, but thank God the film is there. And the other day, the Russian ambassador had seen that film, and he was praising it a lot. So I was very happy to hear that. I'll be making more films.
That was a nice addition.
We have made a film with China. This is the first Pakistan-Chinese co-production. China has the greatest potential as a film market for Pakistan because Pakistan has very limited market. It has 150 cinema houses for a population that is almost 250 million, which is a joke. And 80% of those cinemas are very, very elitist, which means that ordinary Pakistanis cannot enter that.
Okay.
So we have to build cultural infrastructure in terms of cinemas, in terms of theaters, in terms of auditoriums and schools, etc., etc.
Okay, so there are a lot of things to be asked, but I'm going to cut it short. What about, you talk about the film, what about the drama, your dramas, Madar, Palesha, and even Trepik, Chunri, Aag, but even when we were in short pants, we still remember the Palesha. You like that drama or any other favorite character of yours?
I've done many dramas. Palesha is dear to me because Palesha, the freedom fighter who fought against the British Raj, was a historic character, and I wrote that drama based on research. I had researched all the gazetteers of those times, and when the drama was made and shown, it was a hard work. I mean, it was not an easy drama because it was outdoor and we were on the horsebacks as freedom fighters. Dr. Najib had shown this drama in Afghanistan, and because it had, in one of the episodes, it had reference to Amanullah Khan, the great Afghan reformer. And then they decided to make a film on Amanullah Khan. They wanted to invite a Polish director and myself to make this film. But it never happened because he was killed tragically. So yes, Jamal Shah is one of the productions that I'm proud of. Kal was another production. Tapish I did in Karachi. There were several dramas, but I stopped acting because the quality of the scripts I received in the last 3 or 4 years, I've received at least 40 offers, and I had to refuse all of them because none of the script was good enough for me to say yes to. I did a play recently which is being shown, Tere Ishq Ke Naam. The name was actually Mumkin. I liked the play because of the name, the title, but they turned the name also into something very, very prosaic. But people like that play. I'm very choosy because as an actor I'm limited. I'm not someone like Firdaus Jamal, who's a fantastic actor. And there's so many good actors. So I'm choosy, I'm careful.
Being a sculptor, you design scores of sculpture. I myself have seen there that representing a human being sitting on the ground, their heads down, and they were holding their ears. I think that was the interpretations of the dumbness or the freedom of expression that they can't have. You are still in that state of frame of mind. You are still.
I personally feel that people are murghas. The sculpture that you are referring to about the inspiration was from my school days. Whenever we did something wrong in class, the teacher would make us a murgha. And that experience was very painful and very, very insulting. I feel that the entire Pakistan has become murghas. They cannot get up and fight for their rights. That was the message behind those sculptures, and I'm very happy that I did that because everybody could connect to it easily.
Okay, that's good. And one last question. I know this is related to the information ministry, but the news is circulating that there will be no election in the coming 2 years. Do you agree with this? What is your take on this?
I think the elections will happen, and within 6 months' time. That's at least what is discussed in our cabinet.
Okay. Thank you, sir. There are many things to be asked. It was a great time with you here, and inshallah, we will bother you again in future. Thanks a lot. And any message from your side?
Thank you very much. Just, I can request people to stay focused and get as much information about their surroundings and themselves as possible so that they become informed decision makers.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Viewers, that's all for the moment from now. Take good care. Allah Hafiz.